500 miles, 24 hours, 2 national parks, 1 big city. Buckle up and let's go. We are on day 4 of our 6-day road trip, and we're starting off the morning in Bryce Canyon National Park. We are then going to head to Great Basin National Park and then back to Las Vegas. If you want to catch yourself up, you can watch the Valley of Fire video and the Zion video. I will link them below. It is just before 7 a.m. and about 19 degrees outside. And join us in walking on the Navajo Loop Trail. On this trail, you will see Bryce Canyon's most iconic rock formation, Thor's Hammer. If you don't have a lot of time in this park, I highly recommend doing this hike. It is less than 1.5 miles and only has 515 feet of elevation gain. When you first embark on this trail, there will be Wall Street to your right and 2 bridges on your left. We chose to start towards Wall Street, but either way is fine. It's your choice. This little tunnel was fun to walk through, but what I kept doing this entire hike was I just kept looking back up at the hoodoos, and it was just really neat to see, like, as you descended further and further down, looking back up to see not only how far you've come down, but just seeing the hoodoos towering over you. And not gonna lie, when we started going down this way, it kind of felt like we shouldn't be there, and I don't know if it was because there was no one else there or because it was dark and we were just walking through this little slot canyon. I don't know, it was kind of cool, but it felt a little strange. This part of the hike was exciting because it started to open up and the sun started shining through and the scenery was changing a little bit. And now all of a sudden we are surrounded by trees, snow, and it was just so stunningly beautiful, quiet and serene. Hey! And we thought it was funny that so many people had touched this part of the map that it had just worn out, just tracing their fingers over the loop. They also had a benchmark challenge, and this was the first one that we came across. And I'll tell you guys what, Bryce Canyon is the most otherworldly, whimsical park that I've ever been to. You could really just get lost in here. It's like a fairy tale. We're headed back up, and I'm getting a little tired with the switchbacks because it's kind of brutal, but we made it, and we kept, stopping and looking back because it's just so amazing. At this point, we're almost back to the car. The sun is out, we're shedding some layers, and you get to see those canyon views again. I really enjoyed this hike. It was a little bit tough at 9,000 feet, but it was worth it.
At least it's not cold. It's really funny. That's really funny. Wow. That's funny we got that on video.
It's about 8 o'clock now, and we're just doing some driving to get in some views. And this is Rainbow Point, one of the highest points in all of the park. Something I love about Bryce Canyon is how accessible it is. The idea that you have to be an avid hiker or spend days in these places to appreciate them is something I do not agree with, and is something that I wish to dispel through this channel. The truth is that's not feasible for many people, and these parks and other wild places are for everyone who appreciates them. And I love how many opportunities there are to just soak in these magnificent views here at Bryce Canyon. This is just another example of a fantastic, accessible viewpoint, and also look how empty it is. And with that, it's time to hit the road towards Great Basin. And of course, we had to stop and get coffee.
Delicious. It's Wanderlust Cowgirl Coffee and Penguin. She's all lady was super nice. I got a dirty chai. Thank you. Like Alex got some, I don't know, like marshmallow thing. It sounded good. It's hot, so kind of afraid. It's really good. Ooh, tastes like a s'more. It's really good. Let's check them out if you're here.
Real question, do you think this was made simply for the joke? I loved these Christmas decorations. This was probably one of the worst drives of my life, or so I thought at the time. When they say no services for 80 miles, they mean it. I believe we saw 5 other cars, and this is what it looked like the whole way until here, when we were almost in the park. We arrived about an hour early before our scheduled tour time, which was at 1 o'clock, gave us plenty of time to look at the store and exhibits.
I'd like to speak with you about your old mine's extended warranty.
We watched a little bit of the video in the theater before going on our tour, and before you go in, they'll give you a little rundown out here. And now it's cave time. We did the Parachute Shield Tour. It was the only tour available during this time of year, so it was our only choice, but there are multiple tours available in the summer. These tickets were only $12 a person, and the tour is about an hour long. In some spots, you do need to crouch and watch your step, as some parts are slippery, but overall, we really enjoyed the tour, and we learned so much, and I'm excited to share what I learned with you guys here. And if you're like me, you're probably wondering what the heck a shield is. And I will show you as soon as one pops up. I'll point it out to you guys. But for right now, we are headed into the inscription room. So here's the inscription room, and as you can see on the ceiling, there's what looks like graffiti. And it kind of is, but probably not in the way that you're thinking. As far back as the 1800s, people would venture through the cave and get to this room through this opening here. It was not a simple feat, so to mark their accomplishment of making it that far into the cave, people would use their candles to put their initials and dates onto the cave ceiling. This was, of course, before the cave was protected and taken over by the National Park Service, and it is now being preserved as a part of the cave's history. There are the shields, and I just wanted to give a really simplified version of how they are formed and why they're important. They're formed by calcite-rich water coming in through cracks of the cave in the walls or ceilings, and over long periods of time, that calcite becomes an extension of the cave. And the Lehman caves are famous because they have more shields in them than any other cave in the world. So what the park ranger is showing here are cave turnips, which I had also never heard of, and they are very rare, and there happens to be a lot of them in this cave as well as shields. And that is another reason why Lehman Caves is so special. And here's just a close-up picture of a cave turnip. Our park ranger told us that high schools used to have their proms in the cave. How crazy is that? After the tour, we just got in the car and looked to see where we could go. And we ended up here at Upper Lehman Creek Campground. So because of the off season, there was a lot of snow on the road, so not a lot of places to go or drive to. But we did drive as far as we could to this little campground area, got out and walked around. The visitor center will actually loan snowshoes to you if you don't have any of your own. You can also participate in light skiing if you bring your own skis. And we saw the creek and enjoyed the snow, but then just quickly went back to the car and headed out. If I were giving advice about going to this park, I would probably not plan to go here in the winter. I think if you happen to be in the vicinity and you want to go, then it's worth it to go if it's winter or not. But if you're really wanting to experience more of the park, I would go in a different season. We are now on our way back to Las Vegas, and lo and behold, we ran into another road that doesn't have services for 80 miles. It's a little bit more scenic than the last one, but unfortunately, this wouldn't be the last time we would encounter this on this day. So you might be wondering why we're going back to Las Vegas. That wasn't a part of the very original plan, but I realized that there was absolutely nothing out here. So it kind of just made sense to go back to Las Vegas because we still need to go to Death Valley, and Las Vegas is kind of just in the center of it all. If it weren't winter, I think we probably would have camped. This is just us rocking out, having a great time before this drive got completely terrible.
3 hours later.
And this, everyone, is where I learned a very powerful lesson.
Are in BFE on our way back to Las Vegas. Have not eaten since like 12 o'clock, and it's 7:15. So we had to eat at a chicken restaurant inside of a gas station, and green beans. Oh, and we got biscuits.
So, lesson learned, always have snacks or food with you, because you never know.
Grumpy, poopy, gas, fire, right here, champs. David's gonna love this video.
So we are at the Bellagio, and every time I'm in Las Vegas, I want to come here to look at the Conservatory, and we were here in December, so it was decorated for Christmas, and it was so magical. The Bellagio changes the display 5 times a year, and most of the plants are living, which I think is really neat. We went here a couple of nights prior, and it was way more crowded, so I wanted to try again in the morning, and that was a good choice because it wasn't even half as crowded as it was at nighttime. So we decided to go to the Coke store, and we got this flight of different Cokes from around the world. And it was less than $20. We figured an experience would be more fun than a souvenir. You can scan the QR code and see which one is which, but we decided to go into it blind, and here's how it went.
It's so weird.
It smells like smoke.
Yeah, it does. Lemon is a non-alcoholic aperitif that is typically consumed before a meal. Because of its distinctive taste, it is one of our most popular and must-try drinks. That was gross. I didn't like it. That was probably the worst one. And then that one.
I don't know if they put it right.
This doesn't taste like fruit, but it tastes like barbecue sauce.
I mixed all the rest of the ones together and gave it to Alex to try.
It's not bad. It's better than some of them on their own. Look at them, they're scary.
I see you. They're waving to you. They want.
That one has her hand in her mouth.
And she's hungry.
For children?
Yeah.
walking back to our car now. We got some free monsters and we're heading to Death Valley. We'll see you there. Thanks for watching.